Hi, my name is Kathy Labash, and I'm the mother of not one, but 2 children with autism. And I'm also the author of this book, The Child with Autism at Home and in the Community. Now, a lot of parents are very hesitant about taking their kids out in the community, to the grocery store or to the fast food restaurant. And frankly, with good reason, because usually fiascos can and do occur. A lot of my tips in this book have to do with tips I learned the hard way as to how to avoid these fiascos and try and live like a typical family would, allowing you to go different places. Now, some people say, well, how did you come up with such wisdom? If they've read my book, they say that. If they know me, they know exactly how I learned this wisdom, and that was by looking ridiculous. So I want to share with you how I got some of the tips that come from going to the amusement park. I was trying to get my children used to rides, and I was over at the local shopping mall, and we started with the little rides. You put a quarter in that shake and everything, and they were doing fine with that. And there was a merry-go-round at the shopping mall. And I thought, well, before I take them to an amusement park, I'll just try them out on the merry-go-round, thinking it was this simple, innocuous ride. Well, I got on the merry-go-round with my one son, Nicky, and I stood on the right side of the horse so that I could put my right arm around him, which was the stronger arm, because I thought I could keep a hold of him better. Well, as soon as the ride started, I realized I was in a lot of trouble. The music was loud. The horse was going up and down. Visually, it looked like part of the things in his sight range were standing still, and part of it was moving. It was just too much sensory input. He wanted none of it. And he tried to exit the horse. And of course, he was exiting the sensible side, which is on the left, because that is where you would go to leave. Well, there was a big problem there. I had strapped him in, which you're supposed to, but he was then dangling over the side. The strap was holding him in the middle. His head was tilted down, and he was about to get his head pounded into the ground. So I'm reaching over this horse. I've grabbed onto his shirt, and I grabbed onto his pants, and the horse is just heaving up and down, and I'm trying to find a way over to the other side of the horse. And of course, in the front, you have the pole, so I can't go that way. I look in the back, and here are these hooves coming up, ready to kick me in the groin, and the head of the other horse coming down, ready to hit me in the kidneys. And I sat there and I thought, what kind of sick mind came up with this ride? And there was only one thing left to do at that point, and that was to stand there and yell at the top of my voice, "Stop the ride! Stop the ride! Stop the ride!" And I realized that if I had just stood on the other side of the horse, none of these problems would have come about. And if I had thought about all the sensory issues, I would have started out in the seated section, moved to a stationary horse, and then to a moving horse. But of course, none of that helped. So I was standing there, yelling at the top of my lungs, "Stop the ride, stop the ride," and all of the other parents were turning around looking at me, and I knew exactly what they were thinking. They were like thinking, boy, I want to get parenting advice from that woman. The child with autism at home and in the community. Why should we both look ridiculous when I've already done it for you? Thank you.